I had a really good conversation, and I feel like I've been letting you guys down explaining how to handle the VAC team. I'm Mark Copeland. I'm the value analysis whisperer, and this is Sutures and Cents. Ryan Pistone is my right-hand man and consigliere, and we talk business to clinical, clinical to business, clinical to clinical, and business to business here. And I've been doing you guys a disservice, and it was pointed out to me, and I'd like to thank this guy. This disservice that I was doing it was confusing people. And I think he pointed out to me. And his name is John Kensington. I don't know him, but he reached out to me on LinkedIn, and I appreciate we had a great conversation. Because the way I look at this is, if I'm saying things that I think are correct and people are perceiving them incorrectly, it's not their fault. It's this guy's fault, the big fella, right? I point to the passer, and I sometimes I'm throwing them out of bounds, right? I think might have been throwing a couple out of bounds. So let's talk about what I actually mean about calling, understanding value analysis committees, what they need, but it doesn't mean you're going to be standing in front of them, okay? Because you're not, in all likelihood. And I'll tell you a couple of reasons why. Number one, the reps that have gone in front of value analysis committees many times have made a total mess of it. I won't, like, I've heard some stories, and it's unprofessional in some cases. And like, that's going to happen all the time in sales. That's no biggie. But then you get painted with a broad stroke, and they don't want anybody in the meetings. And I'm going to tell you this. Let me give you some hope. You don't need to be in them. You don't need to be in them. And but I'm going to give you an example of how you make the best case to the value analysis committee without ever standing there. Because you don't need to. I'm telling you, like, you don't need the salesperson standing in front of you when you and your family decided to buy something, and they're just standing there and saying, well, let me tell you more all about it, and let me tell you what you should do, and here's how you should do it. And you're like, dude, we got it. We're going to now huddle up, and we're going to figure out what we're going to do. Thank you. We're cool. We'll take it from here. We'll let you know, right? Because we're going to make a decision based on what matters to us, not what somebody else thinks matters to us. So that's just an aside. But here's how I think I'm going to start to describe this a little bit differently in the future, thanks to John. And tell me what you guys think. Think if this clears it up maybe a little bit. So let's do a quick history review. In 2005, there was no such thing really as value analysis committees in hospitals. Ah, the good old days, right? Again, 20 years ago, a meteor struck. Let's not be dinosaurs. So in 2015, most value analysis committees worked because they were still sort of a lot of individual hospitals. There was not quite the amount of consolidation of hospitals buying hospitals and health systems and ambulatory surgery centers being bought up by organizations, right? So it was still a lot of 2 and 3 hospital places, close knit. And when you presented something to a doctor or nurse and they're like, I want this is good for my patients, this is good for our service line, this is good for ABC, you called on the doctors and nurses, and the doctors and nurses requested it. Kind of the good old days, simpler times, but that's how it went, right? So you needed to find, at that time, they still paid attention. Is this doctor big revenue? Is this service line a big revenue service line, right? Like there was a lot more influence and a lot less specifics and like a staid kind of process. But things have changed because of the consolidation and because of the sophistication of these health systems and ambulatory surgery centers, by the way, in hospitals. They're buying more intelligently because they have to. Reimbursements have gone down. So we, for a long time, look for surgeon champions, doctor champions, nurse champions. And I've been saying we need to keep doing that, but that's when the work starts, not when the work ends. But I think I'm wrong. Here's how I'm going to start describing it from now on. You need to call on doctors. You need to call on nurses. You should stick your head in supply chain and show them some respect. And we'll do a podcast about that and business, different day. But here's how I'm going to start describing it from now on, thanks to John. What you're looking for is a new champion. And the champion is not who they used to be. It used to be the doctor. And if you found a doctor who sort of was kind of They weren't going to get it approved. So you had to look for somebody who was a strong personality, type A, right? By the way, doctors, this is exactly how people would, reps would talk. Like, oh, I can't, she'll never get it approved for us. Nope, no. That one over there, though, gets it everything she wants. She knows what she's doing. She knows how to get it. Bop, bop, bop. It was a personality driven thing. It's not anymore. Here's what I'm urging people now to do is look for a different, you need a new type of champion. And this is how you do it. I'm sorry, I can't point to the right, the right direction. It's over here. Yeah. Um, your true champions are the directors of service lines or VPs of service lines in hospitals. In ambulatory surgery centers, it's administrators and directors of nurses, but I'm using this because this is the most complex situation we are in, which is hospitals and now health systems. I'm going to talk to my doctors. I'm going to talk to my nurse potential end users. And I hope they love it for all the right reasons, clinical. But I'm also going to ultimately want them to persuade or talk to, and me included, talk to the people that have again, you've heard me say it, a boot in the clinical and a boot in the business. And those people tend to be nurses, not always. Sometimes they're the chairs of departments. Sometimes they're physicians. You have to understand your accounts and find that out. But there's somebody whose job it is to make sure patients are taken care of the absolute best capabilities that they can do while keeping an eye on the economics, the money. They have to have it. It's healthcare is too big. And it's usually somebody like this. They may have a different title, but they're a director or sometimes a VP. And here's the funny thing. Those people are already on the VAC committee or used to talking to them. They're running a business that's part of a larger health system. Their job is dollars and cents and sutures and band-aids and drugs, whatever it is. Their job is to know it all. They're usually wearing a suit or sport jacket. And these are the people that get things approved. These are your champions. These are the people that if you talk to all your doctors and they say, oh, it's going to save us time, it's going to let us see more patients, how many patients, you start to aggregate all that. You start to put together an executive business summary and pro forma of all these things. When you talk usually to the directors of service lines or VPs of service lines, they're finishing your sentences. Those are the people you want to talk to because they understand what you're talking about. Way below, like doctors don't often understand the economics, and the sort of business economic people, supply chain hospital, often don't understand the outcomes and value of these things. That's not what they're paid to do. But these people, gosh, I can't figure out who to point to. These people, that's their job. And if you're going to them saying this saves 10 minutes on a procedure, this lets you see 5 more patients in clinic, this works in a subset of your patients that are in this larger group, and it saves money here, and I've estimated it to be this, they're going to finish your sentence. They're going to want to see it. They might improve it. Now, if they shoot it down, it's because you did a bad job, but they're the people you want to call on. And they are your new champions. They are the people you want to be able to talk to. And if you can speak their language, and it's not difficult, most of them are still nurses. They still understand clinical pretty darn well. It's an easy place to start with them. When you start to move to economics and strategy, this will also help the health system attract more patients. This will also help the health system attract more, better insurance rates. That's what they want. That's what they're already thinking. As a matter of fact, some of the best conversations I've ever had is with these people where they're like, Mark, you're underestimating it. You missed this. This is going to help us here, here, and here. And I was like, young Cope was like, oh, yes, of course. Older, smarter Cope was like, I had no idea. Thanks. That helps. That makes our case even better. You're behind this? And they say, yes, I'm going to get you approved. Here's the little secret that you'll all love. So, Cope, can you send me that backpack thing? Can you submit that thing through there? But I'm going to go get this approved through the value analysis team. These are the types of things we need to be doing. Sound a little bit different? It's the exact reverse of what everybody else does. So I want to thank John because I think I've been doing a bad job of describing this. You don't want better, more powerful personality champions. You want a new kind of champion. You want a different champion. and you got to learn their language a little bit. I'm Mark Copeland. I'm the Value Analysis Whisperer. I help companies, reps, get their products approved in surgery centers and hospitals.